Oh, left handed. Not good. All right, welcome to another episode of FTU Life After the Military. I'm Tony, your host. Yes, that was Sting's entrance music, Turbocharge. That's always going to be my theme for this podcast. But today's a special day because Sting just retired from wrestling. Got to see his last match. I was a little disappointed that I did not. He wrestled here at Greensboro Coliseum, which is only about 45 minutes away. And I was too tired for my half marathon to actually make the trip. But I did get to meet him in person last year, so I was pretty excited about that. But today's podcast, I have some repeat offenders. I have Chris and Alfredo, and we're just going to talk about what we're listening to in music, what's piquing our interest right now. So, gentlemen, whichever one of you would like to start, have at it.
Well, as I was driving my guitar lesson today, because I'm doing that now, I had the radio going and Make 'Em Believe from Social Distortion came on. It's a cover of an old country song, but it's 3 chords of just awesomeness. So when I went into my guitar lesson, the guy was like, "What do you want to talk about?" I was like, "Dude, this is the song." Literally, it's 3 chords, but Make 'Em Believe from Social Distortion. If you haven't heard that one, go crank that up, man.
Make 'Em Believe. Make 'Em Believe. Wow.
Yeah.
To check it out.
Great song.
Chris was always instrumental in expanding my limited punk rock aperture. Because for me, it was just, the Ramones, Rocket to Russia, all those things, and Bad Religion, by virtue of high school friends and whatnot. But then again, never considered myself somebody who knew that amount of music, because for me, it was Maiden, Metallica, Slayer, Pink Floyd, The Cure, Susie and the Banshees, kind of thrown in like a very, but then it's like I met Chris, and Chris was like, "Wow, cool beans, man! Right on." What social cool beans, man. Awesome. Yeah. No. So for me, it's like nostalgia tour, right? Like I told you guys I want to go see Jeff Tate and who's the other guy? Jeff Tate and Vandenberg. Yeah, Adrian Vandenberg with his band. And they did a bunch of Whitesnake covers because Adrian Vandenberg wrote the majority of those songs. See, wow. Cool.
Right? Could Tate hit those notes? Because Coverdale can get high, man.
No, so it was 2 different. Adrian Vandenberg played with his band, and he had his singer, and his singer rocked. His singer was from Sweden, younger guy, probably about in his mid-30s. I forgot what his name was, but he could sing the songs. And then Jeff Tate came out, and I was making fun because he has like 3 guitarists, a bassist, and a drummer, and then Jeff Tate. And when they came out, I was like, "What the hell is this?" It looked like, let's see, told my wife, Jeff Tate looked like a short, older version of The Undertaker, the way he was dressed. That's not how I remember him in Empire, man. His bassist looked like Joey Fatone from NSYNC.
That's hilarious.
Wow. The really good guitarist looked like Jared Leto, right? Huh. The guy who played Joker in Suicide Squad. Oh, wow. Yep. Yeah. And then you guys might not know this other guy, but the guy who owns a Jacksonville Jaguars, Tony Khan. Oh. Anyway, not the father, but the son. That's what the other guitarist looked like, because he came out with a scarf and this crazy hair, like a Patrick Mahomes hairdo. And then the third guy came out with this like a hat from like the 1890s. Like the little Keystone Cop hats. Oh,
wow.
And it's like, this is odd. Wild. And after the first 30 seconds, all that went away. Because Jeff Tate can still hit the notes. He was awesome. Yeah. It was worth, I think I paid like $50 a ticket. Oh, that's awesome. Wow. At the House of Blues, in Myrtle Beach. Wow. Yeah. It was a phenomenal show.
Right on. Last concert I went to, I took my daughter to see, she's actually a pretty cool singer named Mitski. If I never would have gone down that rabbit hole, but Emma has been listening to Miski for a bunch of years now, and it's cool. It was a very cool show, and I swear, if I didn't know Dave Lombardo was on tour in Japan with Mr. Bungle at the time, I would have sworn he was a drummer, 100%. Like, it looked like Lombardo behind the kit, but it wasn't.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Wow. Talk about like such virtuosity and like such a myriad of different like
Yeah.
where people go. I mean, Dave Lombardo played for Apocalyptica, which was like a cello kind of situation that would play, covers of Metallica and whatnot. And so he's like all over the place, man. He's been drumming for Suicidal Tendencies, drumming for what you saw. You sent me pictures, Chris, of what a classic band, man.
And he also the Misfit reunion shows. He's been playing drums for them, which makes no sense because I literally Lombardo's got a PhD in drumming, and you're going to go back. I mean, the Misfits are like third grade, dude. Anyone. Yeah, I could play for the Misfits. You don't need.
You can play for the Misfits. Yeah, absolutely, man.
Who's the drummer for the Rolling Stones?
Oh,
Charlie Watt. But he passed away.
He passed away, man. He would hit the snare and then he would hit the hi-hat and then hit the snare and stop.
Yeah, he never hit it at the same time. It would always be. It was always off.
It's funny you guys bring up the Rolling Stones. Sweet Lord, I can't believe you did that to me because I was barely passing the statistics class. I'm back in college or whatever. And Mick Jagger I would channel Mick Jagger because towards like the end of every week, like, you can make a grown man cry. Because I don't even know what's up with this like standard deviation situation, man. People are looking at me in traffic like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm like, hey man, I don't know what a standard deviation is. Leave me alone. Rock and roll, man. Wasp. Tony loves Wasp, right? So I thought of him the other day because I wanted to listen to a song called The Idol, which is like a really balladish kind of. I'm like, it's pretty neat, man.
Well, the album,
I don't know Wasp that well. They did a ballad.
The whole theme album, yeah. Yeah, there's so much stuff out there, I don't know. I drift, man. I drift from Willie Nelson sometimes, and Pancho. It's like, out of kindness, I suppose. And then I'll turn into Napalm Death, you realize what Napalm Death is, right? Basically, it's a band about animal rights. I didn't really realize how much into the animal rights those guys are. It's pretty.
I had no idea.
No, because it's like wow, man, just such an angry group of dudes, But
so like I've started collecting vinyl because in my office I have my record player. That's where I go. The setup is usually in there, but like I told my wife, it's like I'm allowed in there. May 2nd, my daughter will be allowed in there because she'll graduate from college, so she's allowed in there. It's like. And my granddaughter's allowed in there, but she's hasn't graduated college. Like, well, whether she wants to or not, she's going to go to college and she's going to graduate. Whether she wants to go or whether I'm there sitting there in my boxers embarrassing her, she's going to go and she's going to graduate. So she's allowed in there, and that's it. But in there, I have my vinyl collection, and I have some U2. I have Eric Johnson because
nice.
plays guitar. Yeah. But I also have, what is that? Taylor Swift.
Man.
And Erasure.
Erasure.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I like Vincent Clark and Andy Bell. They rock.
Talk and Marillion, man. All them old.
Okay, you caught me off guard with
Erasure.
I wasn't expecting that one. They were the Ola Moore guys, right? Like Ola
Moore, yeah. A Little Respect, Change the Love.
Yeah, a Little Respect, that's right.
Wow. That's super cool.
Wow. That's going way back, man. You caught me off guard with that one, Tony. I
was going to watch them last year. They were supposed to be here in concert at DPAC, but they something fell through and they canceled the whole tour.
That's pretty neat, man. See, that's beautiful because it's like growing up. If you were in, 12 or 13 years old, and your crew listened to just Overkill. And you came up one day and said, I think I'm going to pop in a Depeche Mode live album,
Oh, you're getting your ass kicked. Sorry for swearing.
You'd be ostracized and you'd be paying some dues, man,
Yeah, man. Yeah.
But now it's like, shoot, man.
Unless, the only time you're allowed to listen to Depeche Mode is if you were trying to get like the goth girl in all black smoking clove cigarettes. I'd be like, I'm taking my chance. I'm going to play some Depeche Mode.
Or if you want to
on that one.
If you want to get rejected by the same girl, you play Typo. And I learned the hard way, man. 1996, Miami-Dade College, 7 or whatever it was. It's like, are you into typo negative? Why? Because I look this way. It's like it was because it was an insult to say that to true goth bad cave.
Well, you had your chance. You could have been like, yeah, because you used black number 5 when you dyed your hair. You had an opportunity to blew it, Alfredo.
No, yeah. About face. See ya.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it, man.
But this last Wednesday, I was telling Chris my wife and I, we went to Deepak and we saw Tesla in concert.
Oh, wow.
And they rock. They're
That's super cool, man.
you know, you can see their age, but they're still put on a phenomenal show.
One of like the best pieces of just straight guitar music is the intro to Love Song.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That run they do at the end before it kicks into the actual song, how they play that fast on acoustic is just like every time I hear it, it blows my mind. Just blows my mind.
Yeah, man. Like the two bass players, or one bass player and then another bass player, and Edison Benson just going at it with the Rickenbackers and stuff. Back in like you see the video and like what two bass players? What pretty.
They didn't. That's one song they didn't play.
They didn't play.
Tesla was solid, man.
Yeah, man.
For sure.
Yeah.
But
so many bands.
I was laughing because my wife was. She's like, "Well, they were. It wasn't like the last concert. It's like, no, they're not like Jeff Tate. No.
No.
Maybe same genre, but no. Jeff Tate is.
He still sounds as if he
over
did.
the top, almost opera. He reminds me almost like what's his name, Meatloaf, kind of.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's interesting.
And Tesla, I told her they're just an American hard rock band, man. That's who they are.
That's
I
all
don't
I
know
know.
anybody else who can fit Texarkana into a lyric.
Mm.
Yeah.
So it was a really good time. I enjoyed it. You know, there were the asshole in me, right? In both concerts, I would see people older, maybe not in the best shape. There was this one gentleman at the Jeff Tate concert. I forgot they played Empire, and he stood up, right? I gave the one. I sit down, right? Like, sweet Jesus, because his belly was out to here, right? Like it was out to here. But like, I don't know that dude. I don't know what's gone on in his life. Maybe he was in a car accident. Maybe he's a cancer survivor.
Yeah.
Maybe none of that's true. Maybe he just partied too hard in the 80s and the 90s. Big whooping deal. That dude's just out here to enjoy himself. Why don't I just do the same thing and stop staring at him and gawk at Jeff?
Yeah.
You know?
And oh man, it's God, music. It really does something to you, man. It's like a spiritual thing. It just awakens you. You know what I mean? You may be having a blue day or whatever. And man, it's like I just pop in. I don't know, Die Hard the Hunter from Def Leppard, but the live version. You know what I mean? And I'll blast it, and because it's like it's got some lyrics that I guess I can identify with now, right? It's like Soldier Boy back at what? I don't know. Let's not. And I'm like, wow, dude. I'm like, yeah, I guess that was me, right? Cool beans, you know. But it's just amazing because it's such a powerful thing about our like we'll call it our spiritual DNA, man. Because it's like you get up in the morning, it's like, you know what, this is really cool. It brings me back somewhere. Just like Fascination Street from The Cure for some reason.
That's such a great song.
You hear the bass, and you're for me, I'm automatically in a mall that nobody goes to in '87 for some reason. I'm like, okay, why am I here? There's nothing here. There's not even a freaking machine. But for some reason, the dust and the building and the fact that it's like raining and that music's playing, it's like it fits perfectly.
Yeah, that's that whole album's just man, Disintegration. That's just a classic from start to finish.
Non-happy Cure is what I like. Non-happy.
Yeah, I like the I'm Ready to Kill Myself Cure. Like when it just is dark, that's the good stuff, man. Yeah, that's the good stuff.
Oh yeah, sweet.
I don't know. I can take it both. Like they're, you know, like before. Did you see how he looked like in the early '80s?
Yeah,
He looked like normal dude.
He did.
Yep.
He did.
Normal dude.
You know,
well, my favorite
integration comes out. I was like, what the hell?
Big hair, like kind of Tina Turner / met Susie and the Banshees hairdresser, so to speak. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't know Robert Smith played for a little bit in Susie and the Banshees. If you look at a song called,
I didn't know, but that doesn't surprise me. But I didn't know that.
He didn't commit to it because he was trying to have the Cure, like commit to the Cure, I guess, in this documentary that I saw or something. But so many bands out there.
My favorite Cure song though is a Happy Cure song, "In Between Days." I love that's my favorite. That's my favorite Cure song, and that's a really upbeat one. That's a great bass line. Like he plays all the way high on that. Like all the way. Yeah.
Great
musicians.
Yeah. Great musicians, man. Oh my God, yeah, man. Sweet God. But see, here's something that I'll tell you. I'll share this with you real quick. So yesterday I go to this Harris Theater in this town called Holly Springs. I call it Holly Pings because whatever. It's just me and being, a jackass. I go there and I go and get my shopping on or whatever. And there's a dude that works there, British dude, who's like, "I like your shirt, mate." The minute he said that, I was like, for some reason, Iron Maiden popped in my brain, like Aces High. I didn't have the courage to go up to him and start sounding like I tend to do that. If somebody has an accent, I return it, which is bad because it's disrespectful. But me being the jackass that I am, and I'm, comedy and try to whatever. It's like I didn't do that, but it's like it brought me there, and he was a Kempo karate guy, and then I said, "Look, I go to jujitsu or whatever," and then here comes in my coach from jujitsu right there and then, man, timing. And he looks at me. He's like, "What are you?" He looks at my pizza that I'm ordering. Or he's like, "Why are you eating that? How dare you?" Or whatever. He was just messing with me. But the timing of everything. But yet Iron Maiden, kind of like, kind of 2 minutes to midnight kind of flair, with this dude. And it's like I almost wanted to go up to him. It's like, "Are you familiar with Bruce Dickinson? Are you related?"
It's funny that you bring up Bruce because he's I don't know if he came out with the new solo album, the Mandrake Project.
Oh my God. Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah. It's actually pretty good. It's pretty decent.
Bruce Dickinson.
And he's touring. I don't know if he's going to come to the U.S. to tour, but he's going to tour with his solo band and like small arenas like Deepak,
So is Iron Maiden done? They're not.
No. They're going to pick up like later on in the year because they're coming to where? I'm going down to Charlotte so I can see them.
Oh my God. Okay.
Because Steve Harris is he just turned 68. So
yeah,
how much longer are they going to be
older than that? I thought he was in his 70s by now, but
Steve Harris, man, technically, I think he's the only original member, right? If you pay attention,
I think so. Yeah, because Nico came on later. Yeah, I would say he's probably the only.
It still is a step up.
Well, no, it's his band.
Yeah.
Growing up, I didn't realize that. I was like, no, he's the one who formed it.
Look, I'm a Power Slave child and forward, bro. I can't tell you about Killers. I can't tell you about the first one. Peace of Mind, fine. So I mean, that's that wave of Maiden that I grew up through. Now, don't get me wrong. Killers is like, what is it? Invaders. You just go ahead and mess with people like that. They sent me to bus driving school in Germany, and I had Peace of Mind on tape. And it's like, I would drive everybody crazy. It's like I'm playing, and nobody cared, but like. I was like, oh God, this guy's driving the bus. It's like wow. How many times can you listen to Peace of Mind? However many times you make me drive this bus, because there's a tape right here, and I have this tape.
So, the last episode I did, I had Mike Jackson on. He was a instructor at the Sockham Schoolhouse.
Okay.
At the refresher, right? The first time I won a refresher, there's 8 of us in a group.
Right.
And he goes sit down in the group, and he's like, and he presses play. It's like, who is this? And what song is this? It's like, that's Iron Maiden. And he looks at us. It's like, how in the hell did the one Mexican here know who this was? But all you white boys have no clue who this is.
That's hilarious.
And from right there, I was like, Mike, you're my kind of guy, man.
I mean, yeah. But barriers, man. That's another thing about what we listen to. It's like it really unites a lot of people because. Nobody really gave a damn what Slayer was because half of that band is Hispanic. But Tom Araya is from Chile, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep. He is.
And Dave Lombardo is from Cuba.
Yep.
And then the dude from Agnostic Front is Cuban too. Like
Roger. Yeah, he was born in Cuba.
Yeah, man. And so it's like, but it's like it's such. I don't like using the word transcend because whatever that makes me feel like I'm something in the mountains and I'm not. I'm just gonna. It breaks the barrier of the BS, especially how things have been and like how we've been in our country, so polarized. It's like, look, I don't care what you are, left or right. Just get in the pit, man. Let it out, man. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean?
We'll figure it out.
It's going to be just fine. The most American thing is for me to lift him up and get him out and no matter what team he roots for and stuff, and that music brings people together like that, I
watched last week. They have it on Amazon Prime, but it's called The Godfathers of Hardcore. and it's a
Wow,
documentary about Agnostic Front, and mostly just talks about Vinny Stigma and Roger.
Stigma, yeah.
The guy who did it, Ian McFarlane, and the producer Drew Stone, like all your favorite hardcore New York hardcore videos from the '90s. They did all like Punishment for Biohazard and
Oh wow,
all the Chromax videos, like all the Life of Agony video. Think of it in a late '80s, early '90s New York hardcore video. They were the ones that did it, and
very cool.
it's really cool. So if you got like an hour and a half, it's on Amazon Prime. It's called Godfathers of Hardcore.
Oh wow. Do you know if Carnivore was mentioned? You know Carnivore.
They're not, and Peter Steele actually is not mentioned. They have a bunch of other people in there, but he had they did this like 7-8 years ago. So Peter Steele long passed.
Oh yeah, you're right.
They didn't mention him in there, but it's just really interesting. It's just like, because they're all, well, Roger's 60 now and Stigma's 70, and they're still like, and he's making jokes about it. He's like, I'm 65, I got a friggin' mohawk, and he's got Madball tattooed on the side of his head. Like, it's hilarious, man. It's interesting.
Frankenstein, that dude, Doyle von Frankenstein. Look at him. He's like in his 50s, man, and he's got like, he's bodybuilder, like just Jerry Only, Glenn kind of looks like a Roy Orbison that's got diabetes now, but whatever.
Yeah.
But I still love him. I mean, despite whatever, cool beans, but
Doyle's married to the singer of Arch Enemy.
Arch Enemy, that's right.
White Gloves. Yeah, he's married to her, so.
Yeah, man,
Godfathers of Hardcore. If you're looking for like 90 minutes to kill and you want to get some old school punk rock feel, throw that in, man. Good stuff.
That would be really cool. Yeah, man, for sure. Shoot.
Geddy Lee has a show on Paramount.
I love how we just went from Agnostic Front to Rush. That's amazing.
I mean, Rush is always going to come up. You guys should know that by now.
I love it, man.
Rush is always going to come up. I was telling my wife how like you do that, but it's like we were talking about that, how at the concerts that we went to, we saw like older people like us, rocking out, and I thought it was funny because you saw all the men and they're like me having a hard time standing up. But the ladies, they were older, and man, they were out there dancing, 2-3 hours just dancing. Didn't matter how old they were and how heavy they were.
Yeah.
But a lot of them brought their kids too. They're like at House of Blues, you have to be like over 21 or however old.
Yeah.
And so there was this family there. They brought their daughters that were like 21. It's like, you guys seem oddly out of place. But who cares? They were enjoying the music. Yeah, just at Tesla, there were people there with their kids who teenage, 11 years old, watching the show, enjoying it. So that's good. But wherever we go, like whenever my daughter was doing her orchestra in the summer, like the 2-week orchestra camp that she'd go to, whenever we would go, we would always see at least 10 kids with a Rush t-shirt on.
Wow.
So their music has to be doing something if you have teenage kids still listening to Rush. They haven't put out a new album since
Rush,
2013.
Well, there's a reason for that.
Well, I mean, even with Neil, like he was done. Like after Clockwork Angels, he's like, that's it. We're retiring. I don't want to tour anymore.
What an interesting.
But Alex Lifeson said he wanted to tour one more time because his arthritis was getting bad in his fingers.
Yeah.
So that's why they did R40, because he's like, I want to do it one last time before the arthritis in my fingers get too bad and I can't anymore.
Gotcha.
It's the same thing that happened with the arthritis that you talk about, carpal syndrome. I'm not sure exactly the correct term, but Dave Mustaine from Megadeth had that issue big time, and he was like panicking, but he fixed himself and everything else. But that's a different. It's kind of a love-hate relationship with Megadeth. I mean, Holy Wars. When you listen to that today, man, it really hits home too. You know what I mean? It's like pretty neat, especially what's going on downrange in the Middle East or whatever.
That came on the other day. I was driving, and on Sirius Liquid Metal on Sirius Radio, that song came on, and I let it play out. I forgot how good that was.
Yeah,
that's a really good song, man.
You guys as guitarists, I mean, the beginning is like,
and then with the classical guitar part thrown in there, and some of the breaks, like really, really good song, man.
Yeah, really good band. But going back to Rush, what a group of dudes that there's a couple documentaries out there. But Geddy Lee's dad passed away like very early in his life, and he talks about he's very open about his Judaism, and he had to go to the synagogue for like a year and a day because it was part of his ritual and whatnot. But he's just really candid. Like it's really neat to see them being really like just regular guys, and Pert being from the Knights of Columbus and drumming there and starting out as a drummer there, drumming there for like the church there for the Catholic.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know either, man. I saw that documentary. It blew me away. And Alex Lifeson, I think they're Eastern European descent and really cool guys got together. It just all made sense and how they all came together and formed such a beautiful opus of what Rush is, man. And I don't know. It's again, I'm a poser when it comes to Rush because I got into him with Roll the Bones, man. 1990, Roll the Bones.
Yeah, I remember that.
I didn't even know about moving pictures or Fly By Night or anything. No, man. Or the Trees. No, yeah.
So I had this discussion with my wife. I think
Roll the Bones.
I think none of us are in junior high or in high school anymore. So I don't think we have to worry about the poser tag.
I know.
You're a poser, dude.
But I dig it.
Okay.
But
Sure.
it's the sequence of albums and stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Damn, the jock said I'm a poser.
Nah, man. And the worst part is, I didn't think when I heard Orion for the first time from Metallica, I didn't know it was Metallica, and I was like, "Oh, it's Metallica again." I thought I was really young, man. Whatever. I listened to one in this red tape player in San Salvador during the Civil War, man. You hear helicopters, but I'm like, whatever. It's just Wednesday. I didn't care. But I'm listening to freaking "Hold My Breath as I Wish for Death." You know what I'm saying? And it's like, yeah. But that's all we had. But then, we came back to the States in 89 because I was hatched in 77 in Florida and went all over the world or whatever. But I said, oh, there's albums? I didn't know they had done other things. And I was like, yeah, kind of like mustard and mayo. And, it's not just mayo.
Follow that bouncing ball, everyone at home.
Crazy, man. I love it.
Yeah, no, it was good. Like even like on our deployments, like people were talking about like metal, hard rock had a hard time in the 90s because of grunge, and everything just went away from. I don't know what the hell happened in the late 90s, and I don't really care because I try to forget that part of my life.
Yeah.
But I was telling people, it's like, like hard rock and heavy metal might not be played here, but you understand Iron Maiden can still go to South America or Japan or Southeast Asia, Europe.
20,000 stands.
Those down at Wembley any day of the week.
Yeah.
Every day of the week.
That's right.
It's like, no, they won't. It's like, okay.
Yeah, they will. They can do 3 shows a day and sell out every single one in one of those stadiums.
Yeah.
I remember being in Colombia. That was like one of the things the people that we were working with. Are you going to the concert? It's like, what concert? Judas Priest. It's like, I wasn't before, but I am now.
I am now.
Yeah. Oh, Rob Halford, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's KK Downing and the gang there, man. Wow, dude.
Yeah. So speaking of deployment, Tony, I busted out the story. You're gonna appreciate this one. When I can't remember his name, when we were in Tingo Maria and that guy came in and was asking about getting his eyebrows done. Like, where can I get my eyebrows done? And being like, bro, are you serious? Look around. Do you remember that? You remember that dude, the PsyOps guy?
Yeah, he was Julio, right? Julio, right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
No, not Julio, the other guy. Julio was
okay, the chubby
the bigger
guy.
dude.
Oh,
yeah.
The one that was on Miriam's team.
Yeah. And he was like, where can I get my eyebrows done? I was like, bro, nowhere. You're not getting your eyebrows done around here.
I didn't understand. Oh, wow, dude.
That's not happening.
Just the endurance that we had to deal with the circus of folks and it was like beautiful. But I mean, it's such a myriad of personalities. And I always thought that Derek Riley was a huge Van Halen fan because he kind of reminded me for some reason of David Lee Roth because he just had so much energy, man. And he would like put us through the ringer with his like PT program. And it was like, Panama. And it's like, all right, man, we're going to go warm up with a half marathon and then lift a Toyota.
His workouts were insane, man.
Yeah, man, I love that guy, man. But he really, he's a guy in the metal, rock, and all that.
Yeah.
Mighty Boston.
They broke up too. Well, they retired. They didn't break up.
They did.
Yeah, probably like a year and a half, 2 years ago. They were like, "We're done. We had a great run." They just called it. They didn't do like a final tour. They didn't anything. They're just like, that's it. So
It's another interesting genre, ska.
well, they're
I
kind of
really,
you can listen
I
to
was
their
like, that's
albums
pretty
and they're
neat.
all over the place, man. Like some of their earlier albums were more ska than others, but that was a band that just kind of, I mean, if you get More Noises and Other Disturbances, I mean, they do a Slapshot song on there. They always covered Angry Samoans at the Lights Out was their last song. That's an old Angry like they were musically all over the place, man. Like they were ska, but they weren't at the same time. I don't know, but their first bunch of albums are great, man. Devil's Night Out, More Noise and Other Disturbances, Ska Core, The Devil and More, Don't Know How to Party, like just banger after banger after banger, man. Like great friggin' albums. Great albums, man. Yeah. And Nate Albert is an amazing guitar player. And Joe Gittleman was an amazing bass player. So
man. I think I'm always inspired to listen to Henry Rollins' like journey, you know, like how he was working at a Haagen-Dazs.
Yeah.
And like he was just told, hey man, we heard you sing the other day, man. Were you interested in doing this? And that was his shot, man. And he took it. And it's like, wow, man, you know, like it's pretty cool, man. Pretty neat, you know. And he's still the same personality, you know. He never really changed into some like iconic rock figure. That wasn't his thing, you know.
Well, I think he thinks to a certain extent he's an iconic rock figure. He sounds very egotistical with some stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, well, that's fair. That's fair. Right on. You know, in our next podcast, if you guys are interested, we can think about it this way. Or my
I like that. Our next podcast, this guy.
I'm sorry, his podcast. My bad. It's not ours. My bad. This is America. This is America. We're not sharing here, okay? I earn a chicken. I'm not
No,
gonna
that's
away.
fine. But I like I explained to my wife, I already have a board of directors. It's my granddaughter and Taco, Matt's dog, the French bulldog.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
She likes Taco, so it was like, no, he has to be on it. She's like, sure, whatever. I can bribe Taco, so sure.
It's the top 10 people you would want to interview from the music world. And I'm going to tell you right now, I would probably want to interview Al Jorgensen from Ministry.
I can't believe he's still alive.
Well, I don't know what...
I'm just saying.
That dude is out of control, man. That dude, you know, he said... Maybe Morrissey and Trent Reznor should play a game of Russian roulette, like Deer Hunter. It would be a win-win situation.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that dude.
But that's the thing, you know. Or Bob Dylan. Bob Dylan's still alive. He's not going to die. Yeah. He's like a Highlander. You got to chop his head off.
One of the most interesting shows I ever saw, man. Just with a group of people that came. It was '92. It was Ministry, Helmet, and Sepultura.
Wow.
So you had people that showed up for Sepultura, you had people that showed up for Helmet, you had people that showed up for Ministry, and very few showed up for all three. And it was a grab bag, man. As soon as Sepultura was done, like a third of the crowd left. Helmet played, then like a third of the crowd left. It was wild, man.
That is pretty insane.
Yeah. That was Sepultura when they were Arise had come out. They were playing those songs. This was before Arise was good, but Chaos I think is when they got like really good. But they so they were just playing all the, Dead Embryonic Cells and all that from Arise. And then Helmet was off in the meantime, and Ministry was playing Psalm 69. It's just a weird group of people at that show, man. You got a grab bag of everyone with that one.
And that's the thing. When you look at Ministry when he first started out, it's nothing like anything that he did.
Yeah.
Nothing.
We were talking about Erasure earlier. They sounded like friggin' Erasure. Yeah, they were synth pop.
Yeah. Interesting stuff, man.
They definitely aren't now. Oh, so back to what we're listening to now. An album I've been rocking out to. They're a newish band, straight pop punk, man, like pure pop punk, called Neck Deep. They're from Wales, and just like fun music, man. Turn it on and you can't be upset.
I'm gonna check it out.
Yeah, it's bubblegum music, dude. It's great. It's an awesome. An album came out a couple months ago. It's just called Neck Deep. First song was called We Need More. We Need More Bricks. We need more punks and we need more bricks. We need more. Awesome. Punks. It's pretty bubblegum pop, man. It's good stuff. So check that one out. And then what else? What was the other one I was gonna say? Oh, it's an older album. I've been going back and forth between the two a lot. But Over the James from Avail. You want to talk about some awesome mid-'90s punk rock from the same hometown of Lamb of God. Check out Avail.
Huh.
Yep.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot. So What instrument do you really identify with? Because Chris, you can get behind the drum kit and play the drums. You can get behind the
Okay.
bass and do that. You can do the
Yep.
guitar, but which one do you really gravitate towards and why?
Man, I guess I'm gonna go. I would go guitar then drums. Telling my guitar teacher about it. So my guitar teacher, he went to the Berklee School of Music.
Oh, wow.
Uber guitar, yeah, did. He's in his late 50s, early 60s. He's originally from Queens. He's like this old Italian guy. He spent a ton of time in the late 80s, early 90s. He was a studio musician down in New York City. Like we'll talk about a song. He's like, yeah, I played on that or I produced that. Like he was.
Wow.
So we get as we're talking music stuff, and he's like, how come you never learn lessons? Like, I don't want to. I wanted to plug in. I wanted to play. I don't want to take the time to learn scales. I don't want to take. I wanted to play. So I like, because I've always liked the more, the aggression of punk and metal and all that and hardcore. And so with guitar, I like that. And with drums, because I like when you're playing the drums, you control the crowd. Like you can, so like we were talking about Fascination Street, right?
Fair enough.
Take that bass line and put it behind a punk drum beat. It works. That song is what it is because the drums are slow, the tempo's slow. But you can take that do 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 and then dun dun dun, like you could rock that out.
Yeah.
So hitting the drums, you control the tempo, you control the crowd. So, and then I would go, I guess, bass after that. I like playing bass. I played bass in bands. I played shows playing bass. When we were in Tingo Maria, Tony, I hopped on with that one guitar player. I played bass for him that one night. But I don't like. I would have bass third out of the three.
The thing I've always respected the bass. I don't know what it is about the bass. I think I take cues from what Jerry Garcia said. Oh, by the way, like, make America grateful again. I saw a sticker that on somebody's car.
I can't. You're seriously going to talk about Jerry Garcia?
No, but I know it's I get it. Some people just but he said it's what you contribute to the song as a band, right? And it's like I always thought that bass really contributes something really good, which is like the backbone of the tone and the rhythm and everything.
If it's a really good bass player, a lot of guys that just follow the guitar line that add nothing, it doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
But if you're like, I mean, we talked about it before, you take like Michael Anthony, who's an amazing bass player, but just knew where to fit in with each song between the band, the brothers, and just fit perfectly.
Yeah.
And you get another guy that just literally just follows the guitar line that does nothing, adds nothing to the song.
Williams from AC/DC. You don't know anything that comes out of I mean, but that's what it is because he's got a giant of Angus, right? And Phil Rudd and the drums. Anybody can play AC/DC because it's the same old. But that's what makes them genius, right? And that's a band that I also love very much, AC/DC, man. Bon Scott and Brian Johnson, right?
Well, as a guitar player, Malcolm is probably the greatest rhythm guitar player of all time. I don't think there's anyone that could. Hetfield is an amazing rhythm guitar player, but Malcolm is, man, that dude.
I'll take your cues on that because I mean
his right hand. That's a metronome. That dude was just solid, man. Solid.
Yeah.
I like that he added like little things to his guitar, just for cosmetics.
Oh,
they're like he would glue things onto his guitar. Like, have you ever looked at his guitar? Like some of his first
giant
ones?
Gretchen, right?
He had a giant Gretsch.
Like that, it doesn't do anything. It's just like something glued on. I was like, because that's what I want. Okay.
You get into Adam Jones from Tool. That's another guy who he doesn't really highlight himself as a virtuoso, but the genius what he does with Tool, right? And Chancellor on the bass and stuff. But me, I love the drums. I love playing them. Yeah, but you're gonna laugh. And maybe it's because I don't know how to shut up. I ran out of my timer. Just went off. By the way, I'm sorry. Once upon a time, I got on stage in El Salvador with a band called Adrenalina, right? Adrenalina, which means adrenaline or whatever. And they opened up for Def Leppard in 90, I don't know what it was, 6 or 7. But the dude couldn't sing in English. He was trying to sing Pantera, trying to sing Tool, trying to sing Marilyn Manson or whatever. And I got on there. It was pretty neat, the energy, right? Because honestly, like I think vocalists tend to get a bad rap for being just a cheerleader or whatever. But in a way, the best vocalists are the dudes that kind of, again, contribute to the music. If you look at Maynard James Keenan and Tool, he's in the back in the stage and how it's set up. He's actually in the back next to Danny Carey, the drummer, man. You know, it just does something to the mind. It just, because it's the way it's set up or whatever. And it's not your typical like dude in the front row just, you know, jumping up and down and being, you know, goofy or whatever. I mean, there's only one Anthony Kiedis, so he can pull that off, not anybody else. I don't know.
I don't really care for the chili peppers.
The red hot chili cucumbers. I get it.
As I get older, I like them less and less and less and less.
Really?
When I was a spastic 14-year-old, because they were just so spastic, I liked it. But I liked Mr. Bungle more. I thought the first Mr. Bungle album was better than any Chili Peppers album ever. And
I got you.
Because that whole album, man, from Squeezy Macaroni to pick all of them, it doesn't matter what. That
Faith No More was pretty much an antithesis to daggone Red Hot Chili Peppers. They always butted heads, and something they
did. They don't like each other. There's tons of.
I think Anthony Kiedis peaked in Point Break.
Point Break.
Oh, Jesus.
That would be a waste of time.
That would be a waste of time. It's like, back off, war child. He's with me. and rat. Remember rat? Nobody rats for free. You know what?
Yeah.
You know, and I saw. There's a documentary about Quiet Riot that I think you guys would be really, you know, I think you dig it. It's really about Randy Rhoads, man. Another guy, man, that just taken away real fast, man. And I didn't know he played for Quiet Riot. It's pretty interesting documentary.
Yep.
It'd be like, who didn't play with Quiet Riot?
That's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Well,
they tried to get Nikki Sixx as their bass player at one point too.
Yeah.
And they say he was terrible as a bass player.
Well, I mean,
whatever.
I don't know if I would really take anybody's word for that because
You've seen him.
Well, no. Where's Quiet Riot and where's Nikki Sixx?
You're right. Good point. Yeah.
Nikki Sixx paints it a different way. He's like, I left because that was what's his name again? What's the lead singer?
You're talking about geez.
Oh God, DeBro.
Yeah, he's
DeBro.
like, it was Kevin's band.
Yeah, Kevin
And
DeBro.
it was always going to be Kevin's band.
That's a good point.
It was like, so that's why I left, because it would not be our band. It's Kevin's band.
Yeah, he was kind of like, you know, in ours. In the documentary, he turns into that. He looks like that. He kind of, wow. That's terrible.
Nikki Sixx is still living in his mansion wherever.
Yeah.
Kevin DeBro passed away, but living with his mom.
Living with his mom. And Nikki Sixx lights cigars with $100 bills.
Yeah.
So there.
And I just saw this on the other day, but I kind of saw it coming. I mean, we all did. Mick Mars is not playing the live show with Motley Crue anymore.
But he was fired from the band.
He was fired, really.
He's suing them because he didn't want to tour with them anymore because it took so much out of him.
Yeah.
But he still wanted to be in the band, and if they made new music, because he still wants to get paid. He still wants to make the money, right? He still has like music in him.
John Five's playing for him.
But they said like, you're out, and so he's suing them.
Yeah.
John Five's that guy. It's frustrating watching him play because he's so good. He's so good.
Yeah. He's one big old Telecaster, right? And I'm always every time I see a Telecaster, I'm always associating it with like Bruce Springsteen or Keith Richards. And I'm like, no, dude, you can do whatever you want with that thing. You know what I mean?
You can. Wow. He shows that you can. Yeah. For me, I see Telecaster. I think Joe Strummer. But yeah, man.
Strummer.
Old St. Joe. But yeah. John Five's like it's for just watching him just mess around. Like he'll put up Instagram clips of him just sitting on his couch with like his dogs around him. He's just and it just what's coming out of him. I'm like I can't do that. I'll never be able to do that.
Would you guys want to go see Pantera the way it is now in the lineup?
I wouldn't.
I don't know, man. It's kind of
without the brothers.
Yeah. Without the Abbotts, it's just...
I know. And Zach Wilde can do it all or whatever. And Benante on the drums, of course they can. But I guess it's the vibe. You know, that's why I asked, you know.
No, I wouldn't go see it. It's not... It's not, without the Abbotts. If it had been... If Vinny was still alive and he was playing the drums and it was just Zach playing guitar, I'd consider it. But with it being neither of the Abbotts, pass for me.
I hear. Well, that band, they were the heart and soul of that band, man. I mean, now Phil will get what he gets, you know, because I think he did a good job. Because my understanding, Pantera was a hair metal band before
They
Cowboy
were.
Hell came out. They were
No,
under
so he
Magic.
did. Yeah, they had started to get a little bit heavier, but they were definitely a hair metal band. And yeah, with Phil being more into hardcore and all the different metal stuff he was into, definitely changed the sound. But
Yeah, good stuff, man.
but yeah, that was a hard pass for me. Not that they played anywhere up near here, but even if they had, I still wouldn't have gone. So not very few bands come up to where we're at, man. So yeah, we got me first and the Gimme Gimmes are playing here in May, which is
I've heard
amazing.
of them.
So it in the studio, it's a punk rock like all-star cover band, right? So it's Spike Slauson sings, and then Fat Mike from NoFX is the bass player.
Yeah.
It's actually Jackson. He goes by Jackson, but it's Chris Shiflett who plays guitar in the Foo Fighters, and then Dave Ron who plays drums for Lagwag, whatever. And all they do is cover songs. And it's hilarious. But they're coming to play Burlington next month, so we're gonna go check that out.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Like if you haven't heard Me First and Gimme Gimmes, like dude, they're
The
hilarious.
name is I always remembered the name. I don't remember listening to the band, but I think they were associated with the Danny. What's the name? What's the name of the actor that was in Who's the Boss?
Tony Danza?
Tony Danza Laughing Extravaganza.
No, the Tony Danza Tap Dance Extravaganza.
There we go.
Yeah.
The names, man, or No Use for a Name and 10-Foot Pole and
those are all Epitaph bands, man. That's all West Coast stuff there. Yeah. 10-Foot Pole, Screw 32, all the Rich Kids on LSD. What
was the name of the dude that was in our unit? Used to call you guys called him Gene Gene something.
Oh, yeah, who's big on Total Chaos.
Yeah, and we. I remember Chris, you had this conversation with him. He said, "This is the definition of hot garbage."
Yeah.
And he was like, how could you? He couldn't say anything else but just that. How could you? And
because they're an image. They're literally like they spent thousands of dollars to look the way how they look, but you can't. Okay, as I had my guitar lesson today, and I was talking to the guitar teacher, I was like, the reason because we were playing Social Distortion. He's like, how do you do that? I was like, take the Berkeley music out of your head, get the technique out of your head. Like you're playing with emotion. The reason why every band that's ever done a cover of Anarchy in UK sucks. Motley Crue's version sucks. Megadeth version sucks. And Megadeth had Steve Jones play on it, and it sucks because they're not punk guitar players. They're metal guitar players trying to play punk. Total Chaos is them trying so hard. It's supposed to sound like it. It doesn't. They kind of look like it, but they're not. Like it is just. It's trying so hard, and that's the thing. When they came out, literally, like everyone I knew that was in a punk were like, "Fuck these guys." Sorry, Tony. They were like, "These guys." Like, it's a look. That's all they are. You could hear it in their music. It's all it is. It's a look. They are trying so hard, but they are not it.
Amen.
So he was like, man, I love Total Chaos. I'm like, why? Like,
but he was so upset. He was like, "You're trying to convince Chris," and I'm like, "Gene, stop, man. Just stop right there, man. You might." Chris is like. He's one of the architects of CBGB's, man. All right,
no, I'm not that.
I said that because of the knowledge that you brought to the table, bro. I know that. Yeah. But the point is, the dude was like, I knew, and I had seen covers of this stuff, and it was like, yeah, I guess Kmart or whatever, Hot Topic, punk or blah.
But here's the thing, like, who cares?
I know.
Like, you know how many people, like, how hard it is to find people that like Wasp? Like,
true.
That's a very, very limited.
I know.
Part of the,
I know.
There's 8 billion people on this planet. I'm gonna say it's like what, a 10th of a 1%, maybe, if even that. Like, not very many. Like, and I'm talking about since 1985.
No, you're right.
When I first started listening to them,
Wasp.
Most people are like, who? Like, why would you listen to that garbage?
I know.
I like them.
Wasp was
Blackie Lawless. Yeah.
It's like, all right, I'm not asking you to listen to this. I don't want you to ruin my experience, so please don't stick around when I listen to them.
Yeah,
because their music makes me happy. You make me miserable. Could you go away?
But it's one of the, with the punk thing though. There's certain like if I would have gone to like an actual like punk show or whatever, and I'd have showed up with a Total Chaos shirt on, I probably would have gotten beaten down, like laughed out, never come back, because the actual it's hard to explain to someone who's outside of the whole thing. Like there's just because everyone that was in the inner circle knew like they're just it's an act.
I think we could probably relate pretty well because we saw that just in the military. Everybody was the coolest, and then you go and you're a poser. Get the hell out of here.
Oh, yeah.
We're the cool guys. Like, okay, sure, dude. You're in the super in group. Like you're so cool that it's a group of one. Okay, you're that elite. You're the only one in the group. Sure, you're that awesome. Okay, like
That's the thing. That's the beauty of we were. What is it, man? We were just real people in an unreal battalion at times, where the norm kind of was what it was, and God forbid, somebody came into your office and they were speaking the pig Latin that it was, because their Spanish was worse than their English. With all due respect, no respect. I'm Rodney Dangerfield right now, whatever, and I get no respect. And here's the thing. I turned into Samuel L. Jackson every time. Every single time. I'm not going to say what he says, right? I'm trying to be like non-colorful for this one, okay? I'm trying to make up for all the...
Yeah, I'm the bad guy in this one.
No, brother.
He's going to have to beat me on that one.
Yeah, and it's like, it was just a courtesy thing, man. You know, it was a courtesy thing. And I'm like, well, then why you listen to that music? You're not really part of the... You are roots. And I'm like, are you barking at me? Excuse me? And whatever. It was great and it was wonderful and it was hilarious. We share Guyana, man. And by default, they didn't fire me because nobody wanted to go to Guyana. Everybody, at least in that time frame, right? In that time frame, everybody wanted to go find a woman in Colombia. You know. And it's like, at the Valle can go over the G, the where you going, the G. They couldn't even say it, bro. Where del Valle? I'm like, send me a fax.
Yeah, but like that was years ago. We've moved on from that.
I know, but it's beautiful.
I know that's still a touchy part for you. Like you get very dramatic about it.
I can't help it. I mean, it's hilarious because I mean, every time I see a Mark Anthony video, I'm like, I knew that guy. He actually was a civil affairs dude. I'm sorry.
I went to Peru.
I know. I get you.
You know, the only spot I went to was Peru. Well, I mean, I went up to Colombia for work stuff, but
you did.
For me, it was Peru. Yeah. But I do. So I got to wrap this up because I got to hop off because I got to go. Yeah. I gotta go. But Tony, you said you want to do a shout out to our old boss.
We're coming to the end. We're approaching an hour now. Chris has something to do. So we're going to cut it a little short, but we wanted to give a shout out to Scot Storey, former brigade commander. If you haven't listened to his podcast, it's out. You can go on to LinkedIn, look for Scot Storey. He spells his name weird with the one T, SCOT, and Story, STOREY.
Oh, right on.
But you can look for his podcast, Despite the Limits. It's on leadership. I like the latest episode that he did. They're real short, about 5 to 10 minutes. Wow. But I wish every leader in the military was like this because he has no problem talking about just making mistakes and how it's okay to make a mistake and move on. What I really hated about military leadership, which is most of the time non-existent, is a bunch of managers just getting things done. Mm-hmm. It's not leadership. There's a difference. That's a topic for another day. Is that everybody always just wanted to talk about like, bro, I get it. You read a book. I can read books too. Like, I don't need you to, recite some theory, some bullshit from Sun Tzu from goddamn 5,000 years ago. I read the same book. I don't need that. I don't need you. Yeah. And Scott's podcast is not like that. And so
he's an awesome guy. It's at my last deployment in 2018. He was on the CJ9 staff in Baghdad, and I was the only NCO there, and he was one of the 06s, and there was a French infantry 06, and our shop was run by a French 1-star. And Scott's phenomenal, man. I worked with him every day for those 6 months. And his normal gig, he was the chief of staff for 3rd Corps. But on that deployment, he was on the CJ9. Awesome. Like, cannot say enough nice, good things about Scott. Phenomenal human being, and and a great, true leader, man. Like, had a lot of chats with him, and I liked being his right hand guy, man. Like I was the only NCO there, so when he needed something, I was the dude. And I liked I really enjoyed working for him, and I liked being able to come through for him. He'd be like, "Well, Chris," I'm like, "I got it. Don't worry about it." And he was just a great guy. So yeah, anything Scott's name's attached to, I would 100% bless off on it.
He treated people like people,
Yeah.
not as objects or second-class citizens.
Yeah.
And he remembers everybody. So when I got to Baghdad, while I was in Kuwait waiting to fly up there, I went and saw him, and because he was down in Kuwait at the time. So this would have been February of 2018. The last time I had actually had a conversation with him was about 3 years before that, excuse me. I just finished the UWODC. He'd taken over the brigade, and he was asking, he was doing like a sensing session. And one of the big things that we were talking about the OWC was contact teams and how's the CA guy going to go in, because you guys are free fall, scoop, whatever. So when he was like, all right, talk to me about stuff, that was my question. I was like, hey, I just did this, and they're talking contact team, blah, blah, blah. He remembered that. He was like, last time I saw you, you were asking me about going to free fall school. I was like, how do you remember that? But yeah, he's a great memory, remembers everybody, phenomenal guy. Sorry I was a little long-winded there, but yeah, nope. Scott's name's attached to it. It's quality, period. So.
Alfredo, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'd like to send out a shout out to everybody that treats everybody with dignity and respect, in the sense of what Tony said, talking about what Tony said real quick about leadership like that. Derek Riley, I would like to send one out for him, because he cared. He would get down in the trenches with the soldiers and kind of how you doing? What's going on? Let's make it happen. Let's figure it out. At least I had a really good experience. Treat everybody like you want to be treated. And also a colonel that I worked for in the 357 in when I was in SWIC. His name was Colonel Dwyer. He was an amputee, missing one of his eyeballs, but was always such a gentleman. He always treated.
I know. Yeah, I saw him. He had the SF crest in his fake eye. I know who you're talking about.
Great dignity and respect, the guy. And he actually took a knee and he said, "Look, I have mental stuff going on, man." And he took a knee and he said, "I encourage everybody to do so. I'm being vulnerable. I'm being, all these things." And he put it out there, man. And it made everybody take the mental health stigma out of all the things that were going on in the military. And I stand by that, and I'm pursuing a degree in that, and hopefully, make a difference that way. But that's all I got, man.
Right on. All right, Tony, I got to bounce. Thank you very much, guys. Alfredo, always good seeing you.
Always, brother. It's always a pleasure.
Take it easy.
24/7, man.
Yep. Bye, guys. Bye.
Right.
Bye.
All right, everyone. So we're going to end the show there. Just remember, you do have something that makes you special, unique. Just identify what that is, maximize it to its fullest potential, and I know you'll be successful. For those of you who did not know, ACDC is going back out on tour, and Cliff Williams will not be touring with them as a bassist, but Duff McKagan is going to fill in that slot, and they're doing a bunch of European tours. I'm hoping by the end of the year they'll decide to come to the United States, because they always hit Greensboro Coliseum.
Greensboro Coliseum.
So until next time, zot, zot, zot. And roll tide.